Hey everybody, and welcome back to the Jedi Night's Watch. My name is Graham, and today we're going to talk about some things that I wish I knew before collecting Hot Toys. Now, if you're new to the channel, I want to invite you to like this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and ring that bell so you don't miss any new content coming your way. I know I've been gone for a little bit of time, was on vacation, had to move, so we do have a new setup here, and I will be doing a new room tour for you guys very shortly. But going back to this video, I've been collecting for a few years now, and while I still really love the hobby, there are some lessons, some tough lessons that I've had to learn along the way. And whether you're new to collecting Hot Toys or you've been collecting for a few years like me, there's always still lessons to be learned. So here are the things that I wish I knew before collecting Hot Toys, and maybe they can help you kind of avoid tapping out of the hobby. Let's go. Alright, the first thing I wish I knew before collecting was that this is addictive. Man, I cannot tell you how addictive this hobby is. The feeling of clicking that purchase button and knowing that figure's coming your way, to waiting by the door for that package and then opening it up and seeing it for the first time with your own eyes, because we all watch reviews and we see figures and photos and videos, and there's nothing like just watching it and adding it to your collection and posing that figure up. So it's very addictive, and that can lead to some budget problems, that can lead to some marital problems or maybe relationship problems. So just know that it is very addictive hobby. And the second thing that I wish I knew before collecting was that you have to budget, you have to pace yourself. Otherwise, like I said, you're going to have problems in life, you're going to have financial problems. You're probably going to tap out from the hobby altogether. So it's a great hobby, but I really think you need to pace yourself, to budget, and whether that being whatever fits in your budget is what works for you, whether that being one figure a month or a number of dollars per month that you can spend. That is something that is probably something I struggled with for a while, and then I kind of had to really budget within the last couple of months, because we're buying a new house, and you gotta prioritize. Make sure you can pay your bills, and I would also suggest make sure you're also saving a little bit of money as well. So maybe that's something that we can talk about more in the future, is budgeting and how to properly do that. But for now, let's go to the next one. The third thing that I wish I knew is patience is key. You get into this hobby and you see all these figures, and maybe you collect backwards for a little bit because you missed on a bunch of stuff, but all the new stuff coming out, it doesn't come out in a couple months. It takes a year and a half, 2 years. So you do have to have patience with this hobby. Otherwise, again, you're probably going to tap out. There's really no way around it. And this can go for when figures are released as well. Having patience and saving some of that money. You can pay that extra dollar and get it straight from Hong Kong, but you're probably going to be paying $100 to $200 more just for that figure. Or if you have patience, you can wait a couple months, 3-4 months, get it from Sideshow, save some money, and then get that figure still. So patience is key, and I had to learn that the hard way too. I've spent some of that money on getting figures sooner, but that's not always the best scenario, so have patience. The next thing is going backwards can be a good thing, but it can also be a bad thing. When I started this hobby, I had to go backwards quite a bit to get all of the figures that I love. I had to have them in the collection, but it can be quite costly. So on the positive end, you get the figure that you missed on, and if you really love it, you add it to your collection. That's great. However, have a budget for how much you're willing to spend on a figure. Some of these figures can be upwards of $600-700. So have a cutoff line. I'm not willing to spend over $400 or something like that. And just know, maybe Hot Toys will reissue it one day. I mean, some of these older figures, Hot Toys is starting to reissue. So I would just say, I wish I knew how expensive going backwards could be, because again, if you're not, a lot of this comes down to budgeting. If you're not budgeting, this can be very treacherous territories. So backwards can be good, but backwards can be bad. The next thing that I wish I knew before collecting was that you should buy only what has deep meaning to you. Buy what you love, collect what you love, because when you go through a store and you say, oh, they have a hot toy, I might want that. And then you add it, and then you either don't get it out of the box or you just find you like it, but you don't love it. You're going to regret that purchase, and you're going to wind up probably selling that figure and getting less than you paid for it, potentially, especially with a lot of people falling off the Marvel bandwagon. You know, Marvel was hot for so long, but now it's going back to Star Wars, so everything goes in waves, and now you see everybody just trying to get out of Marvel because they're on to the newest thing. And I'm guilty as the next person that I have bought figures that I liked but didn't love. You know, I started collecting prequels of Star Wars, which isn't my favorite Star Wars. I started getting collectors from Marvel that weren't really my favorite, you know, characters because I felt like I had to complete a line. And then I just regretted having them in the collection, or I found myself having to sell them. And, you know, now I'm to the point where I've collected everything that I love. There's really no figure here that I am like, yeah, I could sell that, because everything here has meaning to me. I love, I'm in a good place. But there were some lessons learned where I bought figures that I liked and I didn't love, and then you regret it and they just take up space. If space and money aren't an issue, then buy what you like. But for most other people, I would say you need to collect what you love. The next thing that I wish I knew before collecting was that I really shouldn't care about what other people think of my collection. You know, again, I was trying to... I collected a lot of one-off figures because I really liked RoboCop, Terminator, Pirates of the Caribbean, stuff like that, John Wick. And it didn't really fit at the time because I had D-tops and I was like Star Wars, Marvel, DC, and then a few one-offs. And I'm like, well, I should probably just sell these because it'll look better if I just have these 3 top franchises, and I don't know how they fit together otherwise, and they'll mix and match. And you know, I probably can't have helmets in my display or my NECA turtles because it's not all 6 scale. It really doesn't matter what other people think. Your collection should be a representation of you, yourself, and kind of what these figures mean to you. So as I look behind me, I have nothing but joy because, hey, this is a representation of me, the nostalgia of my past and things that I love. And that's all that matters. So I wish I knew that too, because I did kind of buy some figures that I thought I needed just to maybe have the set look complete, or I sold figures that I liked but I didn't know how they fit. So I would just say collect what you love. Don't let other people dictate what your collection looks like. The next thing is, when you get into collecting, I wish I had a plan, because again, and a lot of these kind of tie into each other, but because I didn't have a plan, well, I mean, I did, but I think plans change as well. So, I mean, even if you have a plan, it's more of like a guideline because it could change, and that's perfectly fine. Our tastes change, our interests change. So, you know, again, I had a bunch of different Star Wars for a while, and then I'm like, you know, I just want to collect the original trilogy because it's easier on my budget. There's a lot of Star Wars figures, so I'm going to hone in on just the original trilogy. But think ahead, because we're going to run out of room really quick. So use the space you have, utilize it, think ahead. You know, if module cases are something you want, plan ahead. It can be expensive, but if you just save up for a year, you know, and you then make your order, and then you have another year to save up, or DTOFs. You know, how many DTOFs can you fit? What do you want it to look like? I wish I knew that I really needed a plan beforehand, because it'd probably save on some expenses, although I don't think this is as necessary as some of the other ones. I just think it can be really helpful if going into the hobby you have a plan. And finally, the last thing I wish I knew before collecting Hot Toys was I can't collect everything. I just can't. As much as I want to, there are things that I have to pick and choose, especially nowadays with the market being so oversaturated. Hot Toys is throwing out 90-some figures a year. There's no way most of us can get even close to that amount of figures per year. And the reasons why we can't get everything is because of our budget and obviously the space that we are utilizing. So I would just tell you guys, you know, again, it kind of goes hand in hand with collect what you love. You can't get everything. Be picky and budget. And I think all of this together will help you be able to be more selective. So those are the things I wish I knew before I started collecting. However, I've learned some of those lessons, and I'm in a really good place with my collection. And hopefully you can be too. We don't want anybody in this community tapping out. We want everybody to be able to share in the joy of these awesome figures. So hopefully this video helped you. If you If you have any tips for me, I'd love to hear from them in the comments below. Also, don't forget to leave a like before you go, subscribe to the channel, and ring that bell so you don't miss any new content coming your way. It's great to be back. Thank you guys for watching. We'll see you real soon. Take care.